Somewhere among these stars is the constellation Cygnus. It's one of my favorites. It's one of the first constellations I learned to recognize in the nighttime sky, and if you watch, you'll be able to find it too. Among the stars of Cygnus, there's a group of stars that make the shape of a cross. It's called the Northern Cross. Can you find a cross shape among these stars? And just to make it easy for you, I've labeled the brightest star in Cygnus. It's also the brightest star in the Northern Cross. Its name is Deneb. And while you're looking for that cross shape, I'll tell you about Deneb. It's one of the most distant stars that you can see with your unaided eyes. The light from Deneb probably takes more than 2,000 years to get from the star to your eyes. Other stars you see are not nearly so far away. And Deneb must be an especially bright star to look so bright while it's still so far away. Well, I hope you had time to find the cross shape. Deneb is at one end, and there are 4 stars in a row, although that one's not very bright. And where I live in the city, sometimes even on a clear night, I have a hard time detecting it. And then there are 2 stars on either side of this row of 4 to complete the cross shape. And on either side of the cross shape are 2 bright stars, even a little brighter than the star Deneb, called Altair and Vega. Together, these 3 stars, Vega, Deneb, and Altair, make a huge shape in the sky known as the summer triangle. And no matter how big I try to make it look on your computer screen, up in the sky, it always looks a lot bigger. Each of the stars in the summer triangle is part of its own constellation. Vega is in a constellation called Lyra. It represents a lyre, a kind of musical instrument with a lot of strings like a harp. The stars of Lyra, except for Vega, are not very bright, and even if you can see them, I can't really see how it looks like a musical instrument. And the same with Altair in the constellation Aquila. When I can see these other stars in Aquila, they could be anything, but in the old stories, Aquila is an eagle. Deneb in Cygnus, however, is different because Cygnus the swan really does look to me like a swan. The bright star Deneb is at the tail of the swan, and the name Deneb actually comes from an Arabic word that means tail. From the tail, this row of stars goes all the way to the head of the swan, and there are stars going either side that represent the wings. The 2 that are part of the Northern Cross are easy to see, but on a clear night, you'll see others at the wingtips. All of these images I'm using are made with the help of a computer program called Stellarium, and we've used Stellarium to squeeze the whole sky into a shape of a circle. And within the circle, we can see, looking way too small, the 3 stars of the summer triangle, and one of them includes the stars of the constellation Cygnus. In August, and we're showing it in late August, Cygnus is pretty high in the sky. The edge of the circle is things near the horizon. The center of the circle is things more or less up in the sky. And it looks like Cygnus, an hour after it gets dark in August, is a little bit to the east. But in September, an hour after the sun goes down, Cygnus is closer to the middle of the circle, closer to being straight up in the sky. And in October, it's actually exactly in the middle 1 hour after sunset. So it should be easy to see. You don't have to know north, south, east, or west. All you have to know is up. And as the months go by, Cygnus flies toward the west. Here it is in November, an hour after sunset. And here it is in December. And even though these 3 stars are called the summer triangle, you can still see them in December, but they're on their way toward the west. They're on their way down. You can even see Cygnus in January, but in January it's close to the horizon in the northwest, doing a nosedive toward the ground. So if you're watching this video in summer, you can watch the flight of Cygnus as it goes from the east in summertime up to the top of the sky and then down to the northwest in winter. Some constellations are tricky to find, but I think you can find Cygnus. Either picture it as part of a great big triangle or as a cross in the sky, or as a swan whose flight you can follow from now until winter.